Hello, and welcome to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Let's try to get things situated here a little better. So I opened the window behind me, so now I'm not getting so much of that weird backlight. I guess those curtains were diffusing the light in a weird way that was confusing my camera, so now I'm not such a shadowy figure. That was a little bizarre. So, oh, yeah, and I guess my pressure seems to be working, so we're all good. As long as I don't bump the microphone too much, we should be all set. So apologize if you hear that noise while I'm adjusting things. I think we're all good. So another week, and yeah, so spring is still on the way. I don't know if you can see that much from behind me, but yeah, there's a little bit of rain and cold, but this is March, so it's just alternating winter, summer, winter, summer. Every 2 or 3 days you get a big jump in temperature and makes it miserable and unpredictable, and everyone's got allergies and is sick, and so if you've got a fever, you don't know if that's illness or allergies at this point. But yeah, that is spring in Japan. But in about a week it's going to become very beautiful, or actually maybe just a few days. They're talking about the cherry blossom season being a little early because of the mild winter, so as early as the 21st, they said we're going to start getting the blossoms opening. So we'll see how that goes, and we already have some of the early things, like the plum trees and stuff are getting very flowery. There's a big park not too far from here for the Osaka Castle, and it has many trees, many different kinds, and so it's nice all throughout the spring season something is blooming. So that's nice. That's one of the wonderful things about Japan, aside from the horrifying allergy season, is the nice flowering trees everywhere. All right, so I hope my volume is okay. I think I was playing with that just recently, so I hope I'm not too far off. Try a little bit more. Okay, and hopefully that's close enough. Okay, looks like we're good. But I have no idea what I'm drawing, and I'm trying to get some of that glare off, which I think I just did. Okay, so yeah, the one thing that was kind of on my mind and that I put in the Twitter, the announcement for the live stream that I was thinking about, is the negativity involved in kind of creative work, and how being easily satisfied with your work is kind of a negative thing to being creative, or negative. It works against your creativity because it doesn't push you harder to do better and to get better, and to be more skilled, to kind of dig deeper and find new and interesting things inside yourself. But there is a lot of negativity that comes with that with that dissatisfaction. So just being not satisfied, never being good enough, is one thing, and that's not necessarily negative, or you can, it doesn't have to be that destructive and that negative. But it does seem like, at least in my experience, that a lot of that perfectionism and dissatisfaction actually does turn into a lot of negative thinking. And I think a lot of people trying to work creatively experience those feelings, and they turn the idea of, oh, I'm not good enough to do this, or I should be better, I should be devoting more time to this. They turn that into something bad about themselves. There's something wrong with them, that they're not able to dedicate enough time, or their work doesn't look like they've been doing this for years, and it's not at the level of some other person that they admire. So it's a bit self-sabotaging, and it's kind of, I don't know, and I'm not sure if it's completely, because it may be because if creativity is your livelihood, if you're doing something creative to make money, you can easily be sabotaged by people's opinions, clients' opinions of your work, but also, and I'm not sure if this is kind of built into capitalism. This is something that I was talking about with a friend recently, that there's a weird thing that, if you're not rich, if you're not successful, there's something wrong with you. It can't possibly be any fault of the system, because it gives you every opportunity it possibly can. So if you're not at the level that you want to be, then it's something wrong with you. And that's that negativity. And I'm not sure if that is like strictly a, drawing a coffee can, if it's strictly a Western capitalist thing where you beat up on yourself for, as dissatisfaction, for what you've accomplished or what level you're at in life, and whether that's creative or financial or career, other not kind of more non-creative career wise. So that seems to maybe be a condition of that system. So capitalism allows you to a lot of freedom creatively to to work and earn money in other systems or situations where you probably couldn't even be rewarded for what you were doing. It would be forced to be something that was just a hobby, or just kind of voluntary, or just for your own entertainment and satisfaction. And so that's the nice thing it does allow. But capitalism doesn't always pick good winners. I don't know if there's a good way to say that. So the most successful people you're going to see in a lot of Western capitalist systems are not going to be the best. And so to model yourself, or to aspire to be, or to imitate those people that are financially successful, that are doing well under that system, is kind of a big mistake. And I think a lot of, we have a lot of recently creative people where we're using the word creator to define anybody that puts a webcam in front of their face, or takes a selfie, or writes a blog. Those are all now creators, or people that are being creative. And it's there's this whole other, if they're just going after pure financial success, or fame or popularity, it's a whole different thing from actually focusing on your craft or what you're doing, and being very good at that, and trying to elevate what you're doing to some sort of higher, more worthy level, something outside of just content. I think that's a weird, everybody creates content constantly, at least content for data mining companies and everything every day. Just clicking around on a few websites, you're creating some sort of content that somebody is actually then selling. I guess if you're going to define content as like entertainment or something people spend time with, but it's pretty meaningless. It's a it's kind of a I don't know, not condescending, but kind of it's a negative kind of devaluing of spending time doing things that are trying to communicate with people. But but so what I was saying is, it's you have to be careful what you consider success and what you model yourself after, because the system doesn't pick the winners in the system, and meaning the most successful, the most popular, are not always the best. So those are not good examples to follow. And but it does create a lot of frustration, and a lot of a lot of just I guess esteem problems, or competency issues. You just don't think you're good or valuable, or doing something that people should value. So it's hard. It's really hard to be feeling that, and not to have. And I guess that's why a lot of artists find similarly minded and similarly creative, in their own field, doing something similar, and kind of look at what other people are doing and try to gauge their talent or success or whatever by up here and not necessarily just, you know, a market, because it's hard to know, you know, how much money you should be making to feel successful doing something creative. And because those markets and those values are constantly changing. I mean, I can remember early internet, especially early Flash animation. It was, you know, the going rate was like $10,000 for 2 minutes of animation, and that quickly came down to, I think the last Flash work that I did was basically like between $200 and $400 for the same amount of work, same amount of time. So the market, yeah, changes a lot, you know, depending on technology and depending on different rates of things. So you just kind of have to, you know, be able to more realistically gauge things and measure things based on, you know, not some abstract, you know, based on kind of real world numbers and situations, not some aspirational. If you're comparing, you know, how you're being paid to a lawyer or a therapist or something, you're going to feel maybe you're not as valuable. But yeah, it just really just depends. But that's the hardest thing, because, you know, that creates that negativity, the negativity that you then use to kind of beat up on yourself and sabotage yourself. You know, you're not doing enough work, you're not doing good enough, it's not successful enough. And that does lead people, like I was saying, how they measure themselves does lead people to make bad kind of pandering decisions. And I think I've definitely done that on and off, is done work for clients that I you know, really could have cared less about, but it was just for the paycheck, and realizing that, you know, it was never really, well, it wasn't really worth it, and it wasn't enough to justify the kind of knock to your I don't know, your self-esteem, or kind of your momentum of your career. You're doing this kind of, oh, I'm catching my bandage. I still have my little bandage on, and it keeps catching on the screen. I got to get my finger out of the way. But almost, it's been a week, or more than a week, but almost done. Yeah, I don't want to be drawing this, really. I don't think I need this. Oh, and it's on this layer. Wonderful. Okay, let's get rid of that for now. But yeah, so I was just really surprised, you know, kind of when I took a step back and was kind of thinking about that. And I think a lot of that is where the idea for this comic came from. This cartoon is kind of based on that negativity and the kind of, you know, negative thinking or negative thoughts that came from not doing things, or just, you know, personal failures or relationship failures or whatever. A lot of that really fueled the ideas and the humor of this cartoon, and made me realize how, you know, how much of a muse that negativity was, at least in this work and some other things that I've done. And yeah, really curious about why it is that way, like why it has to be that way. I'm going to make this the size it would be, not necessarily the perspective. There we go. Yeah, something like this may be fun. Yeah, let's see. Let's zoom out a little bit. Yeah. Oh, good. Okay, and then bring it up a little bit. Yeah, I'm working at such a high resolution that it tolerates pretty much. I mean, it's probably not something you should do, is, you know, be resizing things too much, but it tolerates it quite a bit with what I'm doing. Let's see. Yeah, I think I talked about that before. So when I was doing this cartoon on just paper, with felt or Sharpie. I'm just doing Sharpie on paper. I would scan the bitmap, so just a black and white bitmap scan of the artwork at like 600 dpi, so to get a very very high resolution, but very, you know, just the shape of the lines, and then bring those in to Photoshop. And then of course when I colored it and then exported it for the web or whatever, you know, it would anti-alias and kind of, you know, things would be nice and even in blended, because it was so high resolution, not so jagged. So it was a good way to work. So it also gives me the ability to kind of resize things as I need them, and not have to worry about them taking too bad a hit as far as looking more jagged. These cans are looking a little odd, a little more jagged. Just make them a little wider at the top. Yeah, this one especially. I don't know. Did I fix this one? I don't think I played with this one before. It looks a little odd. Something like that. Okay, that might work. I think we're doing coffee cans. Are there even coffee cans anymore? I think that's pretty rare now. I don't know. Yeah, in Japan, everything's in it, yeah. Plastic, like a vacuum sealed plastic bag. You can, oh, sorry. Oh, you can find at the import stores. I think there's still cans of coffee, but it's pretty rare. Electric can openers being even more rare. I don't think I own an electric can opener anymore. No, just hand for the occasional odd thing. But canned food isn't so crazy popular here because there isn't the distances. It's a more kind of fresh food culture, so people are shopping daily. You know, after work, the grocery stores are pretty crowded. The small, you know, markets and grocery stores are crowded because people just buy fresh food every day and cook it. So not a lot of canned and not a lot of frozen. So very different from the truck farm addicted North America. All right. So yeah, so back to that negativity. So I was really surprised how careful you do have to be about that, about beating up yourself so much that you just can't even bring yourself to work on things because you just don't, you know, you just don't think you have any value or think your work has any value or whatever. And it's hard. You've got to definitely get past that point. Sorry, the microphone is in a good position. You know, get past that point, and yeah, it's kind of low and mumbling, and really, I don't know, just find your own value in things, and you know, be a perfectionist, but not be constructive in your self-criticism and not destructive. Don't tear yourself down, and constantly, you know, you're not good enough to do things, because it will stop you. I mean, it will eventually just completely stop you from doing anything creative. And I think comparing yourself to people, in some senses is good, but in a lot of ways, I mean, in some senses, like technically, I think you can learn things technically from other people. But as far as what comes out of you or what you're able to accomplish, you can't measure that against what other people are able to do as well. I mean, in the marketplace, like purely commercially, I guess you would have to do that and realize, well, I have to at least work this fast, and my work at least has to be at this quality to, you know, expect to be paid for it. But in the actual content and you know, work that you're doing, I think it's not good to imitate, you know, what inspires other people. And I don't know, there's just a tremendous amount of sameness that develops, and I don't know if that's just the nature of, you know, kind of people all having, you know, digital portfolios online and stuff, or just a community where if you're a Tumblr artist or whatever, you know, you've got so many people doing the same kinds of things, and you're just kind of, once you've categorized yourself as whatever, you're just kind of all doing the same sorts of things. I just remember was about 10 years ago though, but a smaller Comic-Con that I went to in the US, and very little variation on the type of work people were doing. You know, everyone just kind of had the same kind of thing going on, and they were all obviously digital artists, and just yeah, unless that was like a very different kind of type of work, like, you know, caricature work or something that you know, kind of demanded a different style, people just had this real samey style. And I think it just came from being inspired by and kind of you know, imitating the same sorts of things. Everyone had the same heroes, and that was a little weird and depressing. But I've heard they've complained about that. I think I was talking about that last year, when the criticism of the, you know, they keep calling it the CalArts style, because any trend or sameness in animation, they want to blame on CalArts because of the mafia that supposedly, you know, fills the animation industry with CalArts graduates. But yeah, just that kind of sameness where everyone just kind of distills themselves down to this similar style. And if you're drawing, if you're making digital art, it's, you know, you're imitating. I guess some of that is a product of the technology, because people doing lighting effects in Photoshop and stuff, I mean, the software is going to you know, limit you, especially if you're not motivated and really pushing what you can do. Like, you don't have a very specific vision, and you're not really going after something that looks new and different. If that's not a big motivation of you creatively, then if you're using the same tools as other people, and, you know, following their tutorials or just looking at their art as an example, it might tend to get a little samey, because you're just overlaying layers in that same way and doing the same gradients and doing, you know, the same sorts of things. So yeah, I don't know if that's yeah, which is a stronger factor, but I think the software and technique does have an influence on that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna have to keep drawing here. I'm not sure what I'm doing on this side, but oh boy. Yeah, so that was just something that occurred to me, and that I couldn't kind of get out of my head, and I thought it would be important to talk about. So don't do that. And I guess it's, you know, a lot of creative people also tend to be depressives or manic depressives, or, you know, have those little faults and what do you call that? Those little oddities, those little odd parts about themselves. And so sometimes that's, you know, it feeds your creativity and is beneficial, and sometimes it just, you know, brings you down. So your art is just a product of your kind of mental illness, and not really, you know, just kind of getting in the way. And but who knows? Oh wait, I should shift this first. Who knows? That I remember having a horrible argument with somebody that had just, I don't know why I even bothered, but somebody that had just left a like a debate, like a university kind of debate competition, and I was a friend of a friend, and they were visiting, and, you know, his wonderful opinion that he was going to scream argue forever was that all art is just the product of mental illness, and, you know, citing these specific whatever, you know, examples of, you know, not even established or credible, you know, noted artists, but just like a guy that painted and painted his cat and went crazy or whatever. And yeah, that was really really ugly and unpleasant to deal with. But I guess there's always that element of it, because, you know, and you notice those people, like, I forget what that disorder is, but the people that really love to do the small repetitive, you know, mark making, it's kind of mentally soothing and things. That's a specific kind of mental disorder. But, you know, you can tell a lot of artists are that have that style, or kind of adopt that style, are prone to that because they do enjoy that actual physical process of making those kinds of tiny little repetitive marks. So I don't know, and I guess you can say just about anything that people choose to do, their preferences are based on their disposition, and a lot of their disposition, I keep catching my finger, comes from their mental defects. But I don't think that that's the only thing that you can say people are doing. But yeah, but that's always a frustrating thing is don't make yourself feel worse, and don't beat up on yourself for no reason. Because it's not going to make you a better artist. You know, being hard on yourself in that way is not making you a better artist. It's just making you less likely to be creative in a lot of ways. Okay, weird little glass. Yeah, I don't know here. Yeah, I should just draw a bunch of things and see where it goes. And I should keep my eye on the chat without distracting myself too much. All right. Yeah, I was gonna do a glue bottle, but I don't think. Yikes. Okay. Yeah, I can't tell if my finger, because I can't get a smooth. I can't lay my hand smoothly on the tablet right now, so I'm getting a little bit of a weird lopsidedness because I'm kind of favoring a certain position here, and that's a little strange. Yeah, I'm also drawing a little small. I don't need to be drawing this tiny. But it's getting harder and harder. Oh yeah, that was another thing that I was kind of laughing about. That's a very Japanese thing. It's not convenience store related, so I guess I couldn't talk about it then. But the thing that's very funny, and if anybody who's watching is a fan of, you know, anime, or at least, you know, Japanese kids television, has seen some of that, you'll know how strangely scatological it is. There's a lot of obsession with bodily functions, you know, the kind of things that you know, 7-year-olds find hysterical, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I was just surprised how much those themes come up over and over again, and they're popular in Japan. Like, you know, parents think it's funny and kids love it because it's just so right up their alley, just their exact kind of humor. But in a lot of ways, it makes those kinds of things very, you know, unexportable. Like, there's no global market for these sorts of things. And yeah, surprised. So there's a storybook, and I'm completely blanking on the Japanese title, but it's basically the butt-faced detective, right? So it's like a boy detective. I think it's a boy. It looks very young and small, but it's a storybook, a boy detective. And his head is just a big ass, there's a big butt, and his, there's two eyes above, like they're on the other side of a butt crack in just his face. And so, okay, that's a weird character design, but they take it even further, where his, Columbo kind of skill, or his technique that he uses, is he farts from his face, and the smell is so terrible that it makes, all the suspects of whatever crime confess. It's kind of his interrogation tactic, and very bizarre. I guess that's like a one-shot kid story. Okay, that's just weird, but it's getting to be a very popular. It's a TV animated series and a huge series of books now. Like there's like a dozen books, and soon there will be a theatrical movie. So it's just amazing, because that is just completely nothing that's ever going to leave Japan. And I mean, who knows in this market, though? I may be terribly wrong. Maybe in Korea there's a huge bunch of people just, waiting and hoping for some fart joke detective. But yeah, I was really surprised. And the other thing that was very popular was a set of workbooks for and I guess this is not, this is pretty common, but and I'm totally blanking on the name of this as well, but a little professor that the little glasses and the little mustache, but his head is like, just a pile of crap, just a big, that stylized Japanese turd shape that looks like a Hershey's Kiss with levels on it. And so that's a popular something unko. I can't remember. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but that's popular as well, because kids like that, and they're at that stage where anything that gets them to learn kanji is wonderful and useful. And so that sort of thing is just okay. And I guess because it is it is specifically for Japanese school kids, that they don't have any ambitions or desire to market it outside of the country, because it's just school workbooks. But that thing is so odd. They're just endlessly funny in Japan. This would actually go off, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, the scatological humor just never ends. And I guess you see that, like anybody that's read, Dragon Ball, the first Dragon Ball series. I think they stopped doing that once it wasn't so much a comedy, more like a fight manga, and less of a comedy manga. Younger kids. But the underwear and toilet humor kind of stuff is pretty prevalent in manga, aimed for like tweens and younger. But that's funny. That's a really funny cultural thing. I can draw a bunch of packages again, am I? Let's see. Let's just keep going here. Oh, a little bit stuck. Yeah, so that was, I just was surprised how many examples there were of those things. Oh, and I forgot, I can probably, here we go. I forgot, I can totally show you examples of this, and it's not gonna be video and sound or anything, so I won't break any, won't get the stream shut down. So let's see. I'll just take a second here. I'll drag something over into Photoshop so you can see what I'm talking about instead of me just describing things. Oh, yeah. And of course there's all kinds of people talking about it on YouTube anyhow. let's see a bigger one here. Okay, well, nothing's very big. But as an example here, so here's your little, whoa, very small. Here's your professor here. Sorry, it's going to be a mess. There's your little professor here. So, so Unko Kanji Drill book. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a many, many workbooks with the little poo-headed professor here. Bandai, yeah. So the same wonderful people that bring you all of those wonderful heroes and giant robots and things. Oh, these are tiny. Oh, these are mini little books. Oh, that's funny. Mini little like keychain books. You can see the little chain there. But yeah, this kind of brand thing is a popular. And let's find the detective. Yeah, here's these are so tiny. I can't find any good images. Well, I guess America did have Beavis and Butthead, but not literally a butthead. Whereas here, well, I keep getting these tiny. I guess that it shows how high resolution these things are. So here he is, the butthead detective. What's his name in Japanese? I can't find the. Damn, I can't find the kanji for his name. But yeah. Oh, it's right up here. Or at least this is the sound effect. Yeah. So here's what he's doing. He's like farting in this character's face and making him confess. But this. This is the scatological level. I mean, it's such an unattractive character. Yeah, but amazing. Oh, here's the original storybook that this is one of the covers of the original storybooks that this is based on. So it was originally done like this, and then has become more. It's become TV animation, and soon a movie. Oh, so Oshiri Tante, Oshiri Tante. So butt detective, I guess. Yeah. So that's the hiragana up here, but yeah. So wonderful. Yeah. That's what passes for kids. Kids storytelling here. I just don't. I just don't get how obsessed it is. I guess it's just, they're letting kids stay young and stupid, and so let them laugh at kind of harmless things like that, and it's better than, I don't know, picking on each other's appearances or whatever. I don't know what that is. Yes, okay. But yeah, so now you have visual evidence of this kind of nonsense. All right, so what am I drawing here? It still doesn't get me any closer to finishing a cartoon. Yeah, definitely my pressure and everything. This bandage is kind of weird. I didn't notice it so much before. But a little more sensitive to it now. What is this? But I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, so I'm always surprised by how silly a lot of that stuff is, and it's just based on stuff that gets noticed by kids at bookstores. So you'll make a bunch of poo jokes, and the kids will be grabbing your stuff off the shelves, and then it gets pressed too, because they're like, haha, isn't this ridiculous? The Unko Kanji workbooks or drill books, and the butthead detective. Something like like that. Maybe not quite so tall. Oh. Okay, yeah. So this I don't need. More like that, I think. Okay. And yeah, some of these things are such distant memories. There are no bottles that look like this. I mean, I guess there are the import stuff, but everything is in such small quantities here. I haven't seen a gallon of milk in a long time. Whoa, that was a weird little pressure thing. Something like that. Hey, they're on the same layer. Great. There we go. So let's see, composition wise. Yeah, like this handle. Oops. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's a little bit wrong. Huh. Oh, I guess I'm zoomed out, that's why. Yeah, well, there we go. A little bit happier with that. All right. Yeah, that works. So some type of fabric softening situation here. Let's put some color on this. Let's see. Oh yeah, and I didn't mention it, but yeah, of course, I am doing this on Monday night, as opposed to the I was doing it more regularly on Sunday night. So schedule shifting around a little bit, and it's probably it might actually be like every other week between Monday and Sunday. So it's either going to be Sunday or Monday, North American time, that I'm doing this, and I can't ever be 100% sure. My schedule has been really unpredictable at this point, and so I apologize if you're looking for this and you just can't seem to regularly find it, and hopefully, you know, it's just as wonderful from the archives, because it's hard to get my schedule to agree to a good regular time, something like that. Okay. But yeah, so I'm back to that old, like last year's regularly scheduled time. Okay. Yeah, that looks weird. None of that. Maybe just do a here. Yeah, that works better. Oh, and yeah, just maybe some kind of white section. Yeah, something like that. All right, and then we'll do the same, a big label. There we go. And maybe not down so far. Whew. Okay. All right. Yeah, just go minimal on this and see how it looks. All right. Oops. Whoa, whoa, whoa. No, no, no. Sorry. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that works. Okay, well, no talking. Here we go. Let's see how this reads. Yeah, it still works okay in the box. Okay. All right, that seems to work. And let's try, oh, not that. There we go. The mysterious fabric softening cartoon. And what did we do? Yes, coffee cans. Sorry. All right, all right. I think I've done coffee cans just recently, so I hope I don't write the exact same thing that I did before. Oh, that needs to be darker. Get that nice Folgers red going. There we go. That's a little dark. Okay, that looks okay. All right, so this guy already has his lid on. A bit warmer yellow. Yeah, he doesn't. All right. And then just this line. All right. Guess that works. Color like a light. No, I think a red of some sort. So make sure I still have my. Yeah, I think it was like this, and they just kind of stopped. And yeah, yellow. There we go. And maybe some coffee grounds. Yeah, read a little bit as coffee. Oh. Okay. Now just a little bit of shading. There we go. So fill some of this. Yeah, I think that's as much. So I'm gonna do there. Okay, and then give things a little bit more shine. Nice shiny cans. Yeah, that works. All right. All right. Oh, no shadow on the ground there. Something. I'm gonna put them in that space a little bit more. Oh, that's right. And then I want to do that with the coffee grounds as well. All right. Okay. Something like that. Yeah, that works. Okay, and there's some coffee cans. Let's move everything up a little bit. Yeah, sometimes when I put the shadows on, it makes me want to... I'm making these pretty huge. It makes me want to recenter things because yeah, this one's not bad though, because the shadow kind of makes it feel a little more lopsided. There we go. Woof. All right. Well, that only needs some writing, so I guess it's time for some convenience store fun here. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so this is going to be pretty short and sweet. I'm starting to, I guess I should check a few different stores or whatever, but I keep running out of interesting ideas, but we'll give this a shot. This is something a little bit surprised by. All right, so here we go. Convenience store segment. All right. So this week from the convenience store, I bring you the Snowbrand coffee. Now this is one of those things you will see everywhere. So kohi is the katakana, the Japanese word for coffee. So this is a coffee drink, a very sweet, milky coffee drink. But this is made for adults and children. And it does actually have coffee in it. I don't think very much. Just enough for flavoring. But yeah, and coconut oil. Wow. It's strange for me because there are so many coffee, very sweet, but still coffee flavored things for children in Japan. And it gives them a weird sense of what coffee tastes like. And then I guess if they take that information and go to Starbucks and don't order a Frappuccino or something, they're going to be very surprised at how bitter and terrible coffee can actually taste to a kid. But even in the public schools, they a lot of times will have the little milk, the little bottles of milk, and it'll be coffee flavored milk. So coffee milk is a very popular thing, and I'm not sure what the inspiration is for it, but you can see 1963, so it's a thing that's existed for a while. And this is the Mega Milk. This is the made by the kind of giant dairy conglomerate. So this is one of the more common ones you'll find. There's other brands of coffee milk, but made by the giant conglomerate, the Mega Snow, the combination of the Mega Milk and the Snowbrand milk. And Snowbrand, they still, I think they have their headquarter building in Shinjuku, the big building with the blue, kind of like this, the blue building with the big snowflake on it. And but in 2000 they have a bit of a scandal where they had a dirty valve. I think it actually was in Osaka, a dirty valve on one of their machines, and it just gave a bunch of people food poisoning. All the milk that came out of there had bacteria in it and made people sick. And then shortly after that, they kind of merged with a couple of other companies and became like the largest dairy company in Japan. But of course, then changed the name so people wouldn't relate that incident with the Snowbrand. Now it was Mega Snow milk, and so they combined several of these kind of dairy conglomerates together and protected themselves from, or insulated themselves, I guess, from any further lawsuit, and also helped the reputation of the brand. But it's really surprising. It's really odd. There's coffee candy and coffee milk drinks that are really common, and it's an odd flavor. I mean, the only coffee thing I could even kind of remember in the U.S. that a kid could choose possibly, and they probably just mistook it for chocolate, was the Jamocha shake. Remember the Jamocha shakes at Arby's, or one of the fast food places in the U.S., and that was the only kind of coffee milk flavor I ever remember tasting. And actually, yeah, I don't think there's chocolate milkshakes at the Mossburger in Japan. It's vanilla, strawberry, and coffee. So yeah, coffee flavor, like a sweet, milky coffee flavor. So you can see from the top there, it's milk and coffee together. And so, just to amuse you and to make a funny face, let's give this a taste. We'll see how actual coffee it is. I haven't had one of these in a long time, but I remember the last time I drank one of these, I felt kind of sick. Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's very cheap coffee. It's very, It almost tastes like coffee candy. Like, I don't know if that's actually coffee because it has a really sweet, kind of sickening sweet finish. And maybe they just do coffee concentrate or something, like a coffee syrup that they put in here. But it's very sweet. It's milk. It's very sweet milk, and that has a pretty bad coffee finish. And actually, it finishes, it's sweet, but it's strange enough that I don't think a kid would actually like that flavor. It's an odd coffee flavor. So it's kind of like if you put too much sugar in an iced coffee, too much sugar and milk in an iced coffee. That's what it tastes like. But the coffee that it's the flavor of the coffee that it's using is pretty bad. It's pretty weak. I think that's what made me feel sick last time, is whatever they used to actually put the coffee in here. It's not good. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I've lost all scale of things living here too long with how too sweet something can be, because American drinks are so over the top sweet. This isn't crazy sweet, but it's a kind of disgusting sweetness. So it may be worth trying. It's very much everywhere, and it's strange if you want to get an idea of what they think is an appropriate coffee flavored drink for a kid. It's odd, but yeah, surprisingly, coffee and kids go together pretty common, much more commonly in Japan. That's the thing that I couldn't believe, is in a public school they would give kids sugar and caffeine in a drink and expect them to not just go crazy and disrupt class for the whole rest of the afternoon. That was a pretty amazing thing to me. I mean, everyone has different or different sensitivities to caffeine, and I couldn't imagine being a kid that was caffeine sensitive and drank a whole bottle or a couple of bottles of that at school and then just bounced off the walls for about an hour. But yeah, so coffee, so the Snow Megu milk coffee and or just coffee. Yeah, it's just their coffee drink. Their Snow brand, the Snow brand coffee drink. That's what it is, and it's barely coffee. I mean, it is just like, kind of like strawberry milk here. It's like strawberry flavor, very sweet milk. This is coffee flavored, very sweet milk, but it's not a nice coffee flavor. So there's better versions of that if you have the cold, cafe lattes and things. They have sugar in them usually, and they taste much better than that. So it is a kid's drink. It's a weirdly sweet, very weak coffee flavor kid's drink, but I don't get it. I don't understand why you would mix coffee with kids ever. Anyway, back to the drawing. Let's see if we can write some of these for the week. All right, there we go. So, coffee for your kids. All right. Filthiest. Last week I was talking about the filthiest puddle. Let's make sure that's not... Oh, whoa, there we go. Not too high. Oh, I should give you a look, not this week, but maybe next week. I'll give you another look at the setup here. Things have changed a little bit since the last time I did that, but just kind of turn the camera around and show you like what's going on here. As far as the setup, just in case you want to do something insane like this yourself. Okay, so let's do some writing. So I was thinking about, oh, actually, I'm going to put another line there. See, this is the worst. I do this every time. I get thinking too much about... Oh, really? That's all it's going to give me? Oh, wow. Okay, I might have to do white. Yeah. That's full strength, huh? Okay. Alright, something like that. I'm going to get too shiny. There we go. Okay. And maybe here. Okay. All right, let's stop fussing with the picture and write this. So the idea, or the thing I was thinking about, was unscented. unscented fabric softener. But yeah, softening clothes, softening. Well, maybe. So the one place, I don't want to say soft. Fabric softener had hard opinions. Oh God, it's way too late for me to. Okay, here we go. Let's do one of these. All right. Okay. So the one thing they were unable to soften was the blow, the harshness, the scratchy, staticky, oh, okay, wait. The one thing, I do the one thing too much. They were unable to soften. Ooh, that was a nice spelling. Was their own self-criticism. Self-criticism, probably hyphen. The one thing they were unable to soften was their own self-criticism. Critical, to be hard on themselves. Yeah, so the joke is hard on themselves. The one thing they were unable to soften. One thing they were unable to soften was their own self-criticism. So just thinking topically about what I was trying to talk about before. Their opinions of themselves, their opinion. So they were unable to soften. Okay, well, I'm fussing with this because I'm not getting anywhere with the writing. So let's take all this down and go boom, boom. Put all this back up and put this here. Is that what I want? I don't know. Oh yeah, it's just giving me. Maybe I do just want more blue. Still looks like plastic. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I don't want to put the eyes behind that, do I? Oh, yeah, maybe I do. Okay, I think that works a bit better. And actually, doing this Oh, wait, where is it? Oh, it's this layer. Doing this might help as well. Yeah. This is... There we go. Okay, that comes across a bit better. Okay. The harshness, the the only thing they were unable to soften was their own self-criticism. Their own self-criticism was beyond their softening abilities. Was beyond their softening. I think I had something recently that was this same sentence structure, but it's shorter and sweeter. Their own self-criticism was beyond their ability to soften. Ah, what's going on there? There we go. Was beyond their ability. Now I'm probably writing the exact same. Okay, their own self-criticism was beyond their ability to soften. Was beyond their ability was exceeded. Their own self-criticism was beyond their ability to soften. Oh. Their own self-criticism was the only thing that needed to soften. Wait, what? Their own self-criticism was the only thing that only thing they could not soften. Okay, that works the best. Their own self-criticism was the only thing they could not soften. Yeah, there we go. Makes them sound a little more powerful in their softening ability. Their own self-criticism was the only thing they could not soften. That sounds very familiar, but then that must mean it works. All right. Now this, I was just thinking about different varieties of coffee and how there's not much difference. Yeah, there were no discernible differences between morning blend and evening roast. There we go. No discernible differences between morning... Oh, maybe I should capitalize. Morning blend and evening roast. Bang. Well, that just came right out, didn't it? As long as I spelled discernible correctly. Discernible. Ooh, that's close. I'll check it later. There was no discernible difference. Singular. There was no discernible difference between morning blend and between is too long. That's the best balance, I think. There was no discernible difference between morning blend and evening roast. All right. Wow, that came right out. Discernible. I'll check that spelling later, and you will see it spelled correctly on the website. Oh, all right. Wow. Well, another week and 2 more cartoons. So thank you so much for joining me. These are, I guess I should read through these again. So there was no discernible difference between morning blend and evening roast, and their own self-criticism was the only thing they could not soften. So fabric softener and coffee humor for this week. Thank you so much for joining me or watching from the archives or however you're watching this. And I will be back next week doing this same thing. And keep that self-criticism constructive and undamaging, and keep moving forward with your own creative endeavors, because there is no point to criticizing yourself or using that kind of negativity to just stop yourself from working. I mean, be self-critical. Don't ever be satisfied with what you're doing, so you keep going further, but do not, use it to just damage yourself. People just love to beat up on themselves, and that's something that you should get some joy from, or some sort of satisfaction. Shouldn't be used like that. So anyhow, I will be with you again. And if you'd like to follow this cartoon at abusecartoons.com on Twitter, and abusecartoons.com at abusecartoons on Twitter, and abusecartoons.com is the website. You can also subscribe to this and thousands of other comics on gocomics.com, gocomics.com/domestic abuse, specifically for this cartoon. I think you can see the last 5 and then subscribe for their archive, plus the weekly cartoons sent to your email. And also, if you would like to see more of this, perhaps a daily version of this, please visit my Patreon, patreon.com/abusecartoons. And thank you so much for patrons that are already supporting this cartoon. You make this stream possible. You make me continuing to do this and being motivated and fascinated and interested in keeping this alive. Make all that possible. So thank you so much to existing patrons. And if you'd like to become one, please take a look at the website, patreon.com/abusecartoons. Original art, signed books, all kinds of stuff to look at on those pledge levels. And I will be with you again next week. Goodbye.